Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Jake. It's always a pleasure to connect with all of you through these conversations. We hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are. No matter what you're doing right now, whether you're commuting, relaxing at home, or taking a walk, we're so glad you're here with us. Today's episode is going to be super insightful, so make sure you stay with us till the end. We're going to talk about something that affects everyone at some point. Getting stuck in negative cycles, and more importantly, how to break free from them.
And I'm Lena. It's so great to have you all here. We truly appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to listen and grow with us. If you're here, it means you're committed to improving yourself, and that's something to be really proud of. And here's the best part. If you stick with us until the end, we promise that your English listening skills and vocabulary will improve significantly. Not only that, but you'll also gain practical insights that you can apply in your daily life. You'll walk away with strategies that actually work, real-life examples, and motivation to start making a change today. So grab a coffee or tea, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
Absolutely. This is going to be a fun and engaging conversation, so make sure to stay with us. We've got some real-life experiences, scientific insights, and valuable tips to share. Plus, we'll discuss common struggles that almost everyone faces and show you how to shift your mindset. Negative cycles can affect our happiness, our productivity, and even our relationships. So, if you've ever felt stuck in a loop of procrastination, self-doubt, or bad habits, this episode is for you. Now, let's not waste any time and jump right in.
So Jake, today we're talking about something really important, negative cycles. We all get stuck in them sometimes, right? It can feel like an endless loop that we just can't escape from. You wake up determined to make a change, but by the end of the day, you find yourself falling into the same patterns. The more we try to break free, the more we feel trapped. It's frustrating, exhausting, and can really take a toll on our mental health. And the worst part is, the longer you stay in that loop, the more natural it feels, like it's just a part of who you are. But that's not true. We can break free.
Oh, definitely. I think everyone has experienced being trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts or habits at some point. It can feel like you're running on a treadmill, going nowhere. You tell yourself you'll change, but before you know it, you're back in the same pattern. And the worst part, the more you repeat the cycle, the harder it feels to break free. It's like quicksand. You keep sinking deeper the more you struggle. And let's be honest, sometimes we don't even realize we're in a negative cycle. We think, oh, this is just how life is. But recognizing it is the first step to breaking free.
Exactly. And the worst part is, when you're in that loop, it feels impossible to break free. Have you ever experienced that? That feeling of being stuck, even when you know what needs to be done? It's like knowing the exit is right there, but somehow you just can't seem to walk through it. And that helplessness? It can be overwhelming, making you feel like change is impossible. But what if I told you that every negative cycle has a weak spot? An entry point where you can intervene and shift things in a new direction. You don't have to fight the whole cycle at once. You just have to change one small thing, and the rest follows.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember a time when I kept procrastinating on my goals. I'd tell myself I would start tomorrow, but tomorrow never came. The guilt of not starting made me feel even worse, which kept me stuck. And that cycle of guilt and inaction just kept repeating over and over. I'd waste hours thinking about all the things I should be doing, but never actually doing them. It wasn't until I forced myself to take action, even if it was small, that I finally started making progress. And here's the key. Once I took that first step, the second step became easier. And then the third. Before I knew it, I was out of the loop.
That's such a common experience. And it applies to so many areas: work, relationships, even personal growth. I used to get stuck in a cycle of self-doubt. I'd tell myself I wasn't good enough, so I wouldn't even try. which only reinforced my belief. It was like a broken record playing the same tune in my mind. But once I realized that my thoughts weren't facts, I slowly started shifting my mindset. I started challenging my own beliefs. Instead of thinking, I'll never be good at this, I'd ask myself, what if I actually can do this? That simple shift opened up possibilities I had never considered before.
That's exactly how these cycles work. They feed themselves. But the good news is, there are ways to break free. For me, the key was action. Once I forced myself to take even a small step forward, I started feeling better and more in control. And the best part? One small action led to another, creating a ripple effect. Eventually, I built momentum, and things started falling into place. And let's not forget, failure is part of the process. A lot of people think they have to break free perfectly without slipping up. But progress isn't a straight line. You'll have setbacks, and that's okay.
Yes. Taking action, even if it's tiny, can make a huge difference. Another thing that helped me was changing my self-talk. Instead of saying, I can't do this, I started telling myself, I'm learning, and that's okay. That simple shift made all the difference. It gave me the permission to fail, which made trying so much easier. And before I knew it, I was making progress without even realizing it. So if you're listening to this and you feel stuck, know that you're not alone. And more importantly, know that change is possible. All right, Jake, let's be honest. Staying motivated isn't easy. There are days when everything feels great. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, you hit a wall. You feel tired, unmotivated, and even start questioning yourself. Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, absolutely. And I know I'm not alone in this. I've had so many moments where I started something full of energy and excitement, but then after a while, I just lost momentum. And when that happens, it's so easy to feel discouraged and even want to give up.
Yeah, exactly. And the tricky part is, once you lose motivation, it's hard to get back on track. It feels like climbing a mountain with no end in sight. But the truth is, setbacks are a normal part of any journey. The key is knowing how to push through them.
That's such an important point. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation to magically return. But motivation isn't something that just appears out of nowhere. Sometimes you have to create it yourself.
That's so true. I used to believe that motivation would come back if I just waited long enough, but I realized that taking action, even small steps, was what actually brought back my motivation. Have you ever tried that?
Oh, for sure. I remember when I was struggling with my workout routine, I kept skipping gym sessions because I wasn't feeling motivated. But one day I told myself, just go for 5 minutes. And you know what? Once I started, I actually wanted to keep going. Action creates motivation.
Yes, I love that. Another thing that really helps is reminding yourself of your why. Why did you start in the first place? When I feel like quitting, I go back to my original goal, and it reignites my passion.
That's such a great strategy. And speaking of strategies, another thing that works for me is surrounding myself with inspiring people. When you're around motivated people, their energy rubs off on you. Have you ever experienced that?
Absolutely. That's why I love listening to uplifting podcasts and reading inspiring books. They remind me that setbacks are temporary, and I just need to keep going.
Exactly. So if anyone listening right now is feeling unmotivated, remember this. Take small actions. Reconnect with your why and surround yourself with inspiration. You've got this.
All right, Jake, let's be honest. Staying motivated isn't easy. There are days when everything feels great, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, you hit a wall. You feel tired, unmotivated, and even start questioning yourself. It's like one moment you're on top of the world, and the next, you're doubting every step you take. It can be frustrating and overwhelming, especially when you're working towards something important. But the truth is, no one is motivated all the time, and that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. And I know I'm not alone in this. I've had so many moments where I started something full of energy and excitement, but then, after a while, I just lost momentum. It's like running a marathon and suddenly feeling like you can't take another step. The enthusiasm fades, and the doubts start creeping in, making you wonder if it's even worth continuing. But what I've realized is that motivation isn't about always feeling excited. It's about pushing forward even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, exactly. And the tricky part is, once you lose motivation, it's hard to get back on track. It feels like climbing a mountain with no end in sight. But the truth is, setbacks are a normal part of any journey. The key is knowing how to push through them. It's about recognizing that motivation comes in waves. And just because you're struggling now doesn't mean you'll be stuck forever. Sometimes, all it takes is one small win to remind yourself why you started in the first place.
That's such an important point. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation to magically return. But motivation isn't something that just appears out of nowhere. Sometimes you have to create it yourself. It's like lighting a fire. You have to put in the effort to gather the wood, strike the match, and keep it burning. And the best way to do that is by taking small, consistent actions, even when you don't feel like it. Over time, those small actions add up and reignite your passion.
That's so true. I used to believe that motivation would come back if I just waited long enough. But I realized that taking action, even small steps, was what actually brought back my motivation. Have you ever tried that? It's like when you don't feel like working out, but once you put on your gym clothes and start stretching, suddenly, you're ready to go. Your brain follows your actions. So sometimes, just starting is enough to build momentum. And once you get moving, you remember why you started in the first place.
Oh, for sure. I remember when I was struggling with my workout routine. I kept skipping gym sessions because I wasn't feeling motivated. But one day I told myself, just go for 5 minutes. And you know what? Once I started, I actually wanted to keep going. Action creates motivation. And this doesn't just apply to fitness. It works for studying, working on projects, or even personal goals. The hardest part is always taking the first step. But once you do, everything else falls into place.
Yes, I love that. Another thing that really helps is reminding yourself of your why. Why did you start in the first place? When I feel like quitting, I go back to my original goal, and it reignites my passion. It's easy to forget the bigger picture when you're feeling stuck, but reconnecting with your purpose can give you a fresh perspective. I like to write my goals down and read them when I need motivation. Sometimes, just seeing those words on paper is enough to push me forward.
That's such a great strategy. And speaking of strategies, another thing that works for me is surrounding myself with inspiring people. When you're around motivated people, their energy rubs off on you. Have you ever experienced that? It's like when you spend time with ambitious, hardworking friends, you start feeling more driven yourself. That's why it's so important to be mindful of the company you keep. The right environment can make all the difference in staying on track.
Absolutely. That's why I love listening to uplifting podcasts and reading inspiring books. They remind me that setbacks are temporary, and I just need to keep going. Sometimes, just hearing about someone else's journey can give you the push you need. And the more you expose yourself to positive influences, the easier it becomes to stay motivated. So if you're feeling stuck, try filling your mind with stories of resilience and success.
Exactly. So if anyone listening right now is feeling unmotivated, remember this. Take small actions, reconnect with your why, and surround yourself with inspiration. You've got this. Every setback is just a setup for a comeback. You are capable of more than you think, and as long as you keep moving forward, you will get to where you want to be. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever been stuck in a negative cycle? How did you break free? Let us know in the comments. Your experience might just help someone else going through the same struggle. So don't hesitate to share your thoughts.
And don't forget to check out the playlist in the description for more amazing content to improve your English skills. We've got tons of great episodes covering different topics that will help you grow, both in language and in life. So be sure to explore and keep learning with us.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Your support means everything to us, and it helps us continue bringing you valuable content. Plus, you'll always be the first to know when we drop something new.
Your support means the world to us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Keep pushing forward, keep learning, and remember, you've got this.
Bye, everyone. Take care, stay positive, and keep working on becoming the best version of yourself. We'll see you soon.